Hello, and welcome to My Two Cent. My name is Paul Emerson, and I will be giving you my 2 cent. Today's topic is field theory, the nature of dimensional retention. For about over a month now, I've been delving into the science of faster than light speed technology and anti-gravity. The topic is much more difficult than I had originally intended it to be, for the nature of communicating ideas is always subject to ambiguity and semantics. The biggest issue when communicating with someone else is you have to deal with the universal understanding that if a person doesn't understand what you're saying or is not willing to accept what you say, they're going to accuse you of either being ambiguous or simply being semantical. While the science community can tell us anything, they can say that the universe is expanding into nothing, that the universe is expanding into that the universe is everything, and that everything is expanding into nothingness, or that the universal expansion does not have to be defined as expanding into something when the universe is everything, that infinite space expands infinitely into itself. The contradictions that are allowed by the mainstream scientific community, while understandable, limits a layperson like myself's ability to communicate any form of reasoning without being told that I need to go back to school and study more and learn more. And it's unfortunate because it kind of defeats the purpose of an intellectual exchange, which is the goal of my 2 cent. And my Due to my lack of ability to convey things visually, I can't express what's in my head in any way that I will not be told that I'm being semantic using circular logic, or I'm just simply ambiguous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply outline those things of my understanding that I have translated into a working a working proof for what I'm going to say is space, and I'm going to speak on space separate from time for this, because the end game goal is to describe a practical approach to the theory of faster than light speed technology. And one of the principles of faster than light speed technology is the ability to warp space. The ability to warp space requires space to be something tangible. There was an experiment, and I can't remember the specifics, where we, the scientific community, determined by studying light in a very specific way that there was no physical manifestation of the medium that we refer to as space. In doing that, they opened the door to a lot of advancements in physics and quantum physics, but they shut the door in a lot of classical mechanical operations and thought experiments when describing space. For example, the scientific community refers to space as a fabric continuously. This is unfortunately not even possible because a fabric requires a medium. You can't describe fabric without alluding to a medium. So the analogy of a fabric for space ultimately contradicts the notion that space in of itself is not a medium. So with that being said, with that understanding being put out there, and with nowhere else to run to, I'm just gonna have to sit here and open myself up to attacks from trolls. So I'll start with the four causes, because I feel like that trying to define space what causes will probably be the most non-ambiguous direction to go into. So the four causes that I've come up with are: space is quantized physical boundless dimensional extent that forms the inherently knowable foundation of material existence. As a material cause, space is comprised of emptiness and serves as a medium within which things have a place where they are allowed to exist. As a formal clause, space is defined as dimensional allegory to a set of coordinates used to best define its finiteness. As an efficient clause, space is where observation occurs, indirectly knowable but giving rise to all aspects of reality and existence. Space is the unobserved object upon which and within which all observable objects are said to be. As the final cause, space is to give rise to existence. Space is where everything inherits their existence from and where everything are said to exist once they come into being. Okay, one other proof that I need to give is the nature of waves. There are two types of waves. One type is called transverse waves, the other is called longitudinal waves. Transverse waves have a vibration that is perpendicular to the direction of travel. Longitudinal waves have a vibration that is parallel to the direction of travel. In classical mechanics, waves only transfer energy through space, not matter. The features of a wave. The wavelength measures the x-axis. Wavelength is the full cycle of a wave from one point to another point. The easiest way to define a wave is the distance from crest to crest or from trot to trot, and its length is measured in meters. Amplitude measures on the y-axis is the size of a wave, measured from the center of the wave, the equilibrium to the crest, or from the center of the wave to the trot. The amplitude is never measured from the crest of the wave to the trot of a wave. Frequency is the number of complete waves to pass a point every second. Frequency is the number of complete waves to pass through a local or duration through a location for a duration of time, and is given in the units of hertz. An example is the number of cycles is if an example of this is if the number of cycles is 10 and the time is 2 seconds, then 10 divided by 2 equals 5 hertz. Using these things, we can calculate the speed of a wave. Speed equals frequency times wavelength. Reflection is a change in the direction of a wave front at its interface between different mediums, so that the wave front returns onto the medium which it originates. Refraction is a change in the direction of a wave passing from one medium onto or from a gradual change in that medium. Now I use the term retention. Retention is the physical medium of spatial dimensions. Expansion is an outward translation of a medium. Contraction is the inward translation of a medium. The infinity is called retention. The conflict that we have when it comes to our understanding that the universe is expanding in all directions is based on our interpretation of our observation of the universe. When we look up into the sky and we observe cosmic background radiation, we see that all points in the universe are moving away from all other points in the universe in a very uniform and very even manner, with disregard to the very uneven nature of the location of galaxies in the universe. Scientists tell us that the universe is even, and this is relatively true. It's relatively true. The fact of the matter is that the universe is very uneven. Evenness is a Cartesian plane. When all points reside at exactly even distances away from each other, that is even. If just one point is not specifically located at the exact same distance away from each other, then you cannot define something as even. Such is the nature of understanding the terminologies that you use. The universe is very wrinkly, very disordered, very chaotic, very random. It is the fact that the universe is perfectly random, it is the fact that the universe is perfectly disordered, that scientists say that the universe is even. Because absolute chaos in of itself is a form of order. I bring this up because this is where our conflict begins. When we look up in the universe and we see that everything is moving away from everything else, we cannot ignore that observation, because it means that there is some